Has anybody ever sent you anything that was a little bit embarrassing and all of a sudden you had to open it in front of some other people and it just got a little weird? Well, that's what happened to me. And it wasn't just an everyday outside world here. We're talking in solitary confinement, which got really uncomfortable. So stick around. I'm going to be sharing this letters from lockdown that shows just what my mom sent me that was in her best intentions, but it didn't land real well where I was at. Hi, my name is Robert. Welcome back to 84 Square Feet, where we talk about all things solitary confinement and really specifically my experience going through 2 years of solitary confinement in the state of Nevada. So I'm happy to have you along today on this Letters from Lockdown. All right, as I alluded to earlier, there was definitely a little bit of uncomfortable tension when I opened the mail. And I got the calendar that I had requested from my mom, but I didn't know what exactly she was going to send. So we'll get right to it. And I'll explain a little bit about why it got uncomfortable because I want you to understand what my reaction was and why I reacted that way. So here we go. Mom and Dad, happy holidays. Yes, I've been getting all of your letters and I just got the envelope with the calendar and the Bible studies on Isaiah came through no problem. On the calendar. I don't want to sound picky or anything, but is there any way that you could send one with nature scenes or something? It's kind of frowned upon for a white guy to have photos of black women, no matter in what context, hanging up in your cell. I know it sounds crazy, but it's prison politics here, and I am not trying to change the rules in the short time that I am here. Let me know, but I do appreciate it though. Okay, so to explain that a little bit, where I was at in prison out in Nevada, it was, when I say prison politics, we're not talking about Democrat and Republican. There was very segregated there, and it was so foreign to me because I just don't operate that way. So here I am going into this system, and it was very evident very quick that there were certain rules about how white people could interact with black people or Mexicans or any other races there really. And how it was explained to me was from a safety and security standpoint. So there were people in each race that were called the shot callers, and they would determine the tone on the yard. Well, in the yard that I was on, white people were not allowed to trade food with black people. We weren't allowed to play games or gamble or anything like that. It was a green light on somebody if they were caught doing that. So it's just something that you didn't do. So to have the pictures that were on the calendar up in my cell, I mean, it was just like a missions calendar, right? Very, very normal, everyday, whatever thing, especially if you're in a church circle or something like that. I think it was just a missions from Africa calendar, whatever it was. But in the space where I was in, that would have potentially made me a target for someone because they may not understand that it was a missions to Africa calendar. They may think something else. And when you're there, people don't ask. They're not out to get the facts. They just act. And if you can do things to avoid those kind of situations from even happening, like me getting rid of this calendar and requesting something with nature scenes on it, that put me like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to watch over my shoulder because of a calendar that I may have up on my wall. So it's really a self-preservation thing at that point. I just knew the rules to the yard that I was on, and I was trying to operate as best I could within those rules so that I didn't have any issues with either COs or people that were calling the shots on the yard. I'm enclosing the weekly coupons that MISDU, this is Michigan Child Support, sent me regarding the child support. Could you contact them and let them know that I'm in prison and to verify that through Berry County Friend to Court or someone that is involved with all of this? I am still holding out hope for the positive on the whole probation discharge thing. Think about it. They are discharging me, not violating me. The Attorney General agreed to go with the court's decision on the matter back in 2009, and now the court is cutting me loose. Yes, some clarification would be most helpful, but I am not allowing negative thoughts to hold in my mind at all. I am staying firmly rooted in God's promises to move mountains, and I am sure if the mountains don't move, He'll provide a way around or even over it. This was just in regards to getting some clarification from the child support agency that I was paying my child support to and getting things stopped while I was in prison. And also, they had me at one point on probation and now they were discharging that probation, but we were waiting for clarification on what all of those terms looked like. So, this was just me trying to clean up some things that were in my past that I had neglected due to drug use, due to being in and out of jail, prison, that sort of thing. And I just hit pause on a lot of things in life, and then those things don't go away. They just kind of pile up. So at this point, I was just trying to get a handle on where things were heading and what I could do to start tackling it. I'm glad you liked the picture. I got that done just in time as they moved him. Hopefully, I will be moved sometime soon. The hole is getting old. I can't even imagine how some people have done years back here. It does test your mental fortitude for sure. No, I haven't gotten anything from David Jeremiah yet. This was one of the Bible studies that I had written to. On the Bible studies, did you want me to just jot my thoughts down and send those back to you? There was an article in USA Today regarding how the Catholic Church just named some Native American lady from hundreds of years ago as a saint, as some random family's kid was sick and got better, all because they prayed to this dead Indian lady. Wow. That whole family, Native American of course, were so happy that all of the Native American Catholics now had someone to pray to. I am sure God was too busy up to that point to hear prayers from the natives. This stuff is so crazy and foreign to me. I actually found the article. I know that there has been a lot of misuse of some of those things, and all in the name of money. And that's the part that I don't like about it, because that's not how I see Jesus operating. I love the press that Tebow gets, and he is a class act. It's like God says, okay, you are going to take me out of schools, no problem. I'll just show up on the most watched show in the USA. Good for Tebow for not playing into the negative press. And regardless if they win or not, he still gives thanks to God. I've always kind of thought he was a class act, and he's still doing pretty well for himself. So it's always good to see his face on the TV. As far as visiting, you are approved to come and see me no matter what prison I am in. You have been approved by the NDOC, so wherever I go in this prison system, you are good to go. I saw Tyler's detention slip. I was going to mention something about that, but wanted to address it in a way that he could take something positive from it, or just mention it to Mike and Darlene and let them handle it. I will carbon you on anything that I send that way, so don't worry. Nikki's comment is along what I would say to him. I really don't like Facebook for the reason of your business is out there for anyone and everyone to see. Why would he post that? I guess my son must have posted something crazy or whatever. That's what I'm getting out of this. I don't even remember really why. Yeah, they need a lesson on the negatives of social networking as they far outweigh any positives. Facebook doesn't care about you. All you are is another user to them who boosts up their numbers, so in turn, they can reap more advertising dollars. Very insightful for 2011, right? Not much has changed. Have you looked at your Facebook feed lately? Have you counted how many ads are in between the posts from your friends? Remember how you used to get a lot of updates from them? And now you're seeing just a lot of ads about things that you talk about with your friends. Maybe not even searched for, but we're digressing here. But that just goes to show, like, not much has changed over the years. Not much is new here. I am rereading The Renewing of the Mind and taking notes on it. I also read Grapes of Wrath and was highly impressed. Great story. Until I got to the end and someone ripped out the last few pages. I sent a note to the librarian and I'm hoping to get a copy of this with all the pages intact. Great Expectations was good too. There was much of that book that I had completely forgotten. Next, I may try for some Mark Twain or even W.E.B. Griffin. Can you imagine how frustrating that is? Like, I literally have nothing in the hole. Here I am in this little box that's 6 feet wide and 14 feet long, and I get this book from the librarian. I'm excited to read it, and I get to the end, and it's literally missing like the last I don't know, couple pages or something like that. Drove me crazy. I finally ended up getting a copy of that book when I went to the next yard that I went to after I got out of solitary confinement. It drove me crazy not to know how that whole book ended after you had invested so much time in that. So that's, just another one of those challenges while you're in solitary confinement. I will probably get the second envelope that you sent out tomorrow after this one is already in the mail. Elena said she was getting the purpose driven life again and was going to send me her answers weekly to the questions. I am going to do the same with her, and I am anxious to see the growth there. I love you, and I will talk to you again soon. If you have any holiday photos that you want to send, I would love to see them. Thanks for the Sudoku. The harder, the better. Love, Robert. And next, this one is another Letters from Lockdown, part of the same envelope, but dated January 5th of 2012. So this is now just about a week later. I guess maybe there was something wrong with the mail, or maybe the mail didn't go out. It's not the regular mail service there. I mean, they get to it when they get to it, and sometimes you don't get mail. So there's not really a lot you can do about it because you're in solitary confinement. You can write a grievance, but who sees that? Who takes care of that? I mean, uh, everything gets slow played, and you basically will just die waiting for something, waiting for somebody to do something. So, January 5th, 2012, I said, well, I received two of the envelopes containing loose page calendars, but I got an unauthorized mail notice saying that the pages were too big. I looked this up inside of the rule book, and the AR says a maximum size for calendars is approximately 11 inches by 18 inches. The note that I received from the mailroom stated they were around 8 by 10 or 9 by 11. So today I filed a grievance. Oh, stating the above facts and the worst case scenario after all this is said and done, I may have to send this back to you as the only option will be to have it destroyed, which I don't want to do. So have patience and say a prayer, and hopefully they'll follow the rules that they wrote and give me the calendar. This is another one of those really frustrating things. Like, my people had sent in another calendar to me, but it was some loose pages, and I don't, it didn't have the spiral or anything, but I didn't need that. I could put the calendars right up in my room. So now they send the calendars. They were in exactly what they size wise that they said I could have. But then the mailroom sends me something that says, no, you can't have those. And so now you have to go through the grievance process. So I guess we'll see if I got them. I don't even remember if I got that calendar, but I guess we'll probably find out here soon. Good news is I got the majority of the books in before New Year's Eve, and I got one book last night. The Bible that you sent me is super nice. Thank you. I am glad that they allowed the leather cover in. This is probably one of the nicest Bibles that I owned, and I will treat it as such. I keep it open while I read from the message, and then I go through and read the study notes on the passage that I'm reading. I will be starting on the other books soon as I am rereading Larry Lee's book on prayer, and I also recently reread Renewing of the Mind by Casey Treat and took notes and answered all the questions at the end of each chapter and then sent it to Elena. Ask her if she can send it to you, or perhaps easier, maybe you can scan it and email it to you. I plan to do the same with the Larry Lee book. The Bible I was talking about, that's this one right here. I was so happy that they allowed this in because it does have a leather cover. And this is an English Standard Version. It's a MacArthur Study Bible. This is the Bible that I used day in and day out from solitary confinement until I got out. And you can see I still have it now. Love this Bible. I love the study helps. I love all that stuff in there. And I don't know if you can see this or not because it's black on green, but here's my last name and here's my back number, 1060653. So this is the Bible that my parents sent me while I was in prison. And I did, I marked it up a little bit. We were allowed to have a marker at one point, made a lot of notes and stuff. And I loved comparing the message version with this and then reading some of the study helps. I mean, that was really the main focus for getting this Bible. So Thanks, Mom and Dad. Appreciate that. I was definitely wowed by Michigan State. Triple overtime win, as well as a good victory for Michigan. I saw some photos of the NHL's Winter Classic game played at the Phillies Park and thought, what a waste of a ticket, as the rink is so small, and sitting in the center of a baseball field as the guys in the bleacher would be hard pressed to get any good views. Give me a heated house, a recliner, and a big screen any day over that. Enclosed is an article for Dad from one of my magazines that I thought he would get a kick out of about dairy farms. I can't imagine a cow getting such royal treatment, and a pedometer for a cow? Wow, times have changed, I guess. My dad was a dairy farmer, and we grew up on a dairy farm, so probably until I was about 10 or 11 or something like that. I could be wrong with those dates, but pretty close around there. We did dairy farming. I think he had around 100, 150 head of cattle, and lived on a nice little farm out in Clarksville, Michigan. And it was a great place to grow up and great place to just learn to be on the farm. I'm also including a copy of the letter that I sent to Mike and Darlene. Hopefully it reaches the boys in some shape or form. I recently got moved to a worse part of the hole where everybody is on disciplinary segregation time, meaning no one back here can order food. I have already lost around 10 pounds, and I can't wait for general population. Ugh. I just got your Isaiah notes in too. I was thinking about adding my own and then sending back so that you can see where I am at in comparison. I am rushing to get this out before mail pickup, so I will close and write more later. I love you and thank you again for the books and the Bible. Love, Robert. So that was the end of that letter from lockdown. Have you ever had someone send you something that was just a little uncomfortable? I mean, if so, drop it down in the comments. I would love to hear your story. That was just a situation that I really didn't have any control over. And when you know the rules on how to operate in an environment to simply stay alive, think about in prison, it's such a volatile place to be that you have to learn the rules of survival very, very quickly. And if you don't play by those rules, if you decide, I just want to do my own thing, it doesn't end up well. I saw that over and over and over again. So it was just easier at that point to say, you know what? It's easier for me to have only certain things in my cell. That way there's never a question, because not everybody there is a Christian. Not everybody there knows what missions to Africa are. I mean, I come from a place where there's a lot of churches on just about every street corner. A lot of people doing ministry things and that. But that's not how it is in every part of the country. And where I was in prison in Nevada was very, very transient. You had a lot of people that were either visiting or maybe they were passing through and got caught. So it was a melting pot inside of there. So it was just easier to go along to get along, knowing that my time there was short, and for me to stand up against something, even though I didn't agree with that, it was easier for me to operate in these rules here so I could get out of that situation alive. Getting little things like the Bible here, books from my parents, things like that really kept me going, because you know that somebody's out there thinking about you. You know somebody cares about you. It's really easy to lose hope in there. And that is, if I pray anything for anybody that's doing time right now, or solitary confinement especially, my prayer is that you feel hope, that you feel peace where you're at, that you can learn to be in that environment and also learn how to get out of that environment, even while you're still within those four walls, because those four walls don't have to define you. And the situation that you may be in today doesn't have to define you. There could be things that are happening to you that maybe are bad situations or just tough situations to get through. But whatever that situation is, it doesn't have to define you today. Your worst mistake doesn't have to define you today. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my episode in this Letters from Lockdown. The next episode, I'm actually going to be answering some questions from some viewers. I got a long list of questions that I got last year when I put something out on Facebook about doing this little documentary through all these letters. Got a lot of great questions, and I can't wait to answer some next week. So check out next episode. We'll have some fun questions, and feel free to drop your questions in the comment section as well. I love seeing what you guys have to say, and if there's something that you want answered, either about solitary confinement or even prison experience in general, I'd be more than happy to see what I can do. Have a great day, and be blessed, and be a blessing wherever you're at.